The iconic music scene of July 1965. July 1965 was an incredible time for music. Vibrant music and fashion epitomize feelings of optimism and creative experimentation. While the music of '67 is often romanticized in the media, one could argue that it all really began to emerge in the summer of '65 with breakthroughs such as Like a Rolling Stone, Satisfaction, and Tambourine Man, which began to question the status quo. Let's break down the music scene of July 1965 and look at some of the driving forces behind the soundscape that shaped the summer, and how the music scene was affecting the culture and how life compared to today. In the summer of '65, you might be enjoying an episode of Peyton Place on your black and white television. You head out on a date to see the latest comedy, What's New Pussycat with Peter Sellers. Sometimes you go see a movie at the drive-in, which was immensely popular. There were over 4,000 drive-ins throughout the U.S. during their peak. Drive-ins served as an affordable family-friendly or date night option costing around $1 to $2 per car. Today there are about 300 drive-ins left. You hit the open road for a summer road trip to go sightseeing with the affordability of cars and fuel making it easier than ever. In 1965, a new Chevrolet Malibu cost a little over $2,000 or about 7% of the median household income. Vehicle registrations tripled since 1945 and created a cultural shift from being stuck in one location. And as you cruise the open road, what could you tune into on the radio? Colors by Donovan is moving up the charts, as is We Gotta Get Out of This Place by the Animals.
That's the time I love the best.
Help Me Rhonda by the Beach Boys is still getting a lot of radio play. All great summer songs. You turn on your transistor radio while visiting popular destinations such as beaches in Florida, the Catskills Mountains, or with a growing interest in the developing American space program, the Kennedy Space Center in Florida also became very popular in the 1960s. The Space Center allowed drive-through tours on Sunday afternoons with 100,000 visitors during the first year. In 1965, the tours were expanded and included other parts of the Space Center. Popular songs playing on your transistor radio in July 1965 are Heart Full of Soul by the Yardbirds, Anyway Anyhow, Anywhere by The Who, and Wooly Bully by Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. At your local record store, you can head into the listening booth and check out the latest singles, including You've Got Your Troubles by The Fortunes, Cry to Me by The Pretty Things, and This Strange Effect by Dave Barry. The song, written by Ray Davies, will be released again by The Kinks in September.
You've got your troubles, I've got mine. Cry to me. This strange effect on me, and I like it.
On the evening of July 25, 1965, Bob Dylan took the stage at the Newport Folk Festival in black jeans, black boots, and a black leather jacket, carrying a Fender Stratocaster in place of his familiar acoustic guitar. The crowd shifted restlessly as he tested his tuning and was joined by his new group of backing musicians. Straining to be heard over the loudest music ever to hit Newport, he snarled his opening line. Then, with legendary Mike Bloomfield on guitar, Dylan roared into Like a Rolling Stone, challenging the folk establishment with one question: how does it feel? The crowd reaction was mixed with some cheering and dancing, some booing and some crying. He left the stage but was begged back and ended the night with "It's All Over Baby Blue," his farewell to the leftist folk establishment and into a new frontier as a bona fide rock star with a new hipster look that would come to define him. He would continue from this moment on as a cult figure of the 1960s.
Once upon a time, you dressed so fine, through the bumps of dime in your prime. Then you
Rising up the charts are "Crying in the Chapel" by Elvis, "Leave a Little Love" by Lulu, and "Maggie's Farm" by Bob Dylan. If you are heading outdoors to spend the day at the local river or lake, you might not think to bring sunscreen. And even if you do, the first SPF products only contained around 2 to 4 SPF, and the additives were often thick and oily. You probably would be hearing a lot of the chart toppers in July '65, such as "Mr. Tambourine Man" by the Byrds, "Satisfaction" by the Rolling Stones, and "I Can't Help Myself" by the Four Tops. Fashion was important. Men were wearing anything from the Ivy League aesthetic to the surfer style to the mod style. In the summer, the surfer culture influenced by the Beach Boys significantly influenced men's fashion, especially in coastal regions like California. This style was relaxed and effortless, mirroring the laid-back coastal lifestyle. Contrasting the Ivy League aesthetic was the mod style from London's Carnaby Street. This style featured slim-fitting, Italian-cut suits with narrow lapels, flat-front trousers, and Chelsea boots. Eventually, bright, bold colors and prints became key elements of the mod style. Carnaby Street was a significant influence, with boutiques like John Stevens, His Clothes, and Lord John's popularizing this avant-garde look, made popular by British invasion acts, such as the Beatles, The Who, and the Small Faces.
Well, I think we had the balls to call ourselves mods, even though, you know, me in particular, was a complete bloody wolf in sheep's clothing, or a sheep in wolf's clothing. I don't know which way you want to look at it, but I'd always been a teddy boy, and you know, at heart I was a real rocker. But I liked all kinds of music, so to me it was just a uniform. But then we, you know, it was pointed out to us that this was a bandwagon that was going to roll, and all the music that they liked was the music that we liked, but they didn't have anyone in this country doing it for them. So we became mods overnight. I mean, into the barber with long hair and out as a mod. That really was. It was hysterically funny. It was just amazing because the fashions would change so quickly.
Wily Casanova, his ploy is the oldest in the book, patriotism. His country needs him, and so does she. British to the marrow and always ready to fight for the Union Jack.
On Ready, Steady, Go, catch performances by The Who, Manfred Mann, The Yardbirds, Dave Clark 5, The Animals, Dusty Springfield, The Kinks, Nina Simone, The Moody Blues, Mary Ann Faithfull, The Pretty Things, and Simon and Garfunkel. Meanwhile, over on Thank Your Lucky Stars, you can catch Billy Fury, The Ivy Leagues, The Dave Clark 5, The Animals, The Searchers, Helen Shapiro, The Seekers, Dusty Springfield, Vicky Carr, The Honeycombs, The Yardbirds, Mary Ann Faithfull, and The Rolling Stones. After watching your favorite television show, you might sit down and write a letter to someone. Maybe a love letter to your boyfriend or girlfriend while listening to I've Been Loving You Too Long by Otis Redding. Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me by Mel Carter, or Tracks of My Tears by The Miracles. And in July 1965, two of the most iconic songs in music history entered the charts. California Girls by the Beach Boys and Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. It is indeed an iconic music scene with a vast option of music to choose from. Some of the most legendary songs only staying on the charts for a week or two to be knocked off by yet another iconic song. The hits just kept on coming. Fashion was heavily influenced by art, as we see here in the July edition of Vogue, from Gauguin's flowers to op art on dresses to Seurat's Sunday afternoon within a makeup palette. Style was considered an art form, and as this Max Factor makeup ad states that women are a work of art, it creates the most beautiful self-portrait you ever owned. Women painted their faces like it was a blank canvas. This is when the pastel eyeshadows and lip colors became popular. Colorful and patterned pantyhose, high fashion glasses, and jewelry were all becoming part of the creative scene. And as Roger Daltrey explains, fashion was influencing music. Music and fashion have been forever linked like strands of DNA since the 1960s. You could look at how someone was dressed and get an idea of the music they listened to. How nice it would be for society to be more thoughtful about their attire, as in 1965. While people mostly cooked at home, dining out at restaurants was still considered something for a special occasion, and a foolish waste of money, especially by anyone who lived through the Great Depression. TV dinners became a popular way to give mothers a break from cooking, especially on a hot summer night. Today, the average person may eat out at a restaurant 3 times per month and up to 1 time per week for some, with takeout or delivery averaging 4 times per month. Howard Johnson's was a popular restaurant destination while on vacation or visiting relatives. The Cable Car restaurant was a popular spot for visitors to San Francisco, and the Route 66 Steak and Shake was a Midwest destination. Fast food restaurants were beginning to pop up, competing with mom-and-pop-owned spots. In 1965, you might stop at Hardee's Kentucky Fried Chicken or Sonic, which was originally called Top Hat, where a car hop on roller skates would be taking your order. Popular songs you might hear on the radio are Herman's Hermits, Henry VIII I Am, What's New Pussycat by Tom Jones, and Set Me Free by the Kinks.
All you gotta do is set me free, free, free.
If you were one of the lucky who flew to your vacation destination, then you would have enjoyed seatside service that includes your choice of a multi-course meal and cocktails, where the stewardesses had plenty of room to push their cart with flowers and champagne down the aisle. You would have dressed in your Sunday best as you enjoyed the French fare, which was all the rage after Julia Child's mastering. The art of French cooking became a sensation. The airlines competed for business with exceptional food and service. Today, you're likely to choose between a small bag of crackers or cookies and a beverage on a domestic flight. Occasionally, you may even get a sympathetic smile from the staff pushing the cart that barely fits down the aisle as you sit stuffed in the fetal position until your plane lands. However, the price of flying has technically gotten cheaper. A domestic flight ranging from $36 to $48 in 1965 being the equivalent of $405 to $540 today. In London, you can head over to the Marquee Club to catch live performances by the Moody Blues, Rod Stewart, and the Spencer Davis Group. At the Flamingo, catch John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers. The Hollies are performing their latest hit, I'm Alive, at the Manor House. Or head over to the latest London club to pop up, the Pontiac, where you can see live performances by The Who. The Rolling Stones announce a new autumn tour throughout England. The Record Mirror releases its Readers' Poll winners, which include Elvis as World's Best Male Vocalist and Best Disc of the Year, while Marianne Faithfull also got 3rd place for Best Female Vocalist. The Rolling Stones get 2nd place for Best Disc of the Year. The readers write in and give their reaction to the results in the following edition, with one reader writing in this scathing rebuke: "The person who gave females the right to vote ought to have been hung up with his toes. How ridiculous your poll results were just because of females voting for their pretty-faced singers. Chuck Berry and Ben E. King are in the bottom half of the male vocalist top 20. Why? Because they aren't good-looking, ask any stupid girl. Whoever heard of Keith Richards, Brian Jones, or Elvis being better instrumentalists than with Bo Diddley or Stan Getz, to name but a few? Please have next year's voting be all male, then we might get near some truth. Stephanie Riley, Nottingham. Stephanie, if you're still out there somewhere, do leave a comment below and let us know if you still feel the same or if you've warmed up to the Rolling Stones and Elvis. The Record Mirror teases the upcoming Beatles album, Help, saying, "This album could easily be titled The Many Moods of the Beatles." Showcased in 14 tracks are ballads, rock and roll, folk, country and western, and a helping of straight pop. The Byrds announced their tour of England, which will take place in August. In the August video, we will take a look at reactions to the Beatles' new album and the Byrds' live performance at the Flamingo, where Paul McCartney made a surprise appearance. Are there any songs on the charts today that you think can stand the test of time, like the iconic music of July 1965? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and be sure to check out the iconic music from previous months of 1965 as we uncover the progression of music from the 60s to today. Cheers!